This is Love.Live.Local. It's something new that I've put together because, we've just been through unprecedented. I know it's a word that everybody has used a lot during lockdown and what we're facing with COVID-19. And what I really wanted to do is to be able to spotlight some of the businesses, some of the people in business, events, charities, everything that happens around this area in the Mahurangi, and in particular what goes on in Warkworth, as we try to sort of make some sort of economic recovery in the area. So I thought the first person I need to talk to about this is Murray Chapman from One Warkworth. Hi, Murray.
Hi, Brent. How are you?
Good, thank you. So how's your lockdown been?
Oh, Brent, I have to be honest, I've struggled.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people I've spoken to have said they love it, the fact of being able to work from home and all that sort of thing. But I'm a fairly social animal.
Right.
And so I like to be out talking to people. But yeah, it's been good for my exercise because I've walked a lot more than I have just to keep my head sane.
You know your neighbourhood like the back of your hand now, literally.
Well, that's probably something that often I think after this people will say, the one good thing I got out of this was the fact that I got to meet so many of the people around my street that I didn't know before.
Yeah, no, it's been really good in that respect. So during the whole lockdown period, because we went into it fairly quick within a few days, what are some of the things you've been hearing from some of the local businesses?
I think it'd be fair to say, Brent, that when this happened, there was a state of almost stunned shock from a lot of them because it's all brand new for everybody. No one had plans in place to work through this whole thing. The questions that we got in those early days, and we got a lot of them, were around the wage subsidy.
Right.
What are my responsibilities as an employer to my staff? And that also restores a bit of faith in human nature, because what I realised from this, and we often hear about bad employers, we don't often hear about the really good employers, and the questions we were getting were from people who were really caring about what happened to the people working for them. That in the first instance, the first week or so was it took most of our time, I think.
So, I mean, with One Warkworth, what are because you haven't had to deal with this before, so what are some of the plans that you've put into action? I mean, you've had a bit of time, I suppose, to talk to everybody, sit around and think. What are some of the things that One Warkworth really want to do to help the retailers?
Well, one of the things that we've done now, we've sent out a survey, because it's very easy to make what we think are informed guesses on what's happening for people, but we don't really know. So we've sent out a survey to everyone on our database, and one of the really positive things to come out of us doing an application for a business improvement district was we had to visit every business. So we have virtually every business in our rural-urban boundary on our database. So we've sent out a survey to them, asking them where their pain points are. What is it you need from an organisation like us? So rather than just make a decision or make a guess on what's needed, we're waiting for that to come back. Having said that, we're some of the things that are going to happen are going to be financial planning issues, for example. How do I do a financial forecast to get me through for the next 6 months? What do I do around the HR side of it? So we're looking at doing some webinars, which will be free, and we'll put those out. We'll be utilising local experts and just feeling our way through to a large extent and helping people in a slow and measured way, rather than rushing in there like the cavalry and saying, we have all the answers to all your problems, because no one does.
No, that's right. I was talking about this a lot today too, about looking at people's online presence, because I think there was a lot of people that weren't prepared for or websites weren't set up for e-commerce or just to handle going into alert level 3 where you can start to sell things obviously contactless. So do you think One Warkworth will be working with the businesses in the area to talk about solutions for that?
Yes, we'll be looking at all the different ramifications around online marketing. And it's one of the things I think we're going to find that's going to come from this, and that even once we're back to normality, you might find that cafes and liquor stores and a lot of others will still have that online presence that they never had before. And I think of some of the cafes in town, and just to name two that I, off the top of my head, Chocolate Brown and Let It Brew. Both of them offer now food that you can buy online. Now, to me, that wouldn't have been something that would have happened until this pandemic hit us. So it's one of those things I think that people might come out of this with a couple more strings to their bow that they didn't have before. Our part in that, I suppose, really is just making sure they know the right way to do it, not being the people that tell them how to do it, but perhaps pointing them in the direction of experts.
Well, that's good. I mean, you can bring a whole lot of different people in all different aspects of business, I suppose, because it is a new frontier. And you're saying with the cafes, I mean, the cafe culture for us in Warkworth is just to meet up. You and I often meet up for a coffee and gone around a lot of the different cafes. But to be able to still do that and still get your fix online if you can't make it, I think that's going to be nothing but a positive for the local economy, isn't it?
Well, I think in the short term, you might find that there are people out there that still don't feel comfortable coming out into the mainstream, and mixing with people on the main street. And so they still want to be able to buy the product and that and have it delivered. And so rather than sit at home or in some cases get someone else to go and buy it for them, there'll be an online presence now for them to be able to do that. I must admit though, Brent, given how often I'm in cafes around Warkworth, this lockdown has saved me a lot of money, to be honest.
And probably like me, a few kilos as well.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's great. So what do you think are some of the positives to come out of this? I know it's been just something we never expected to happen. We thought that 2019 was a bad year, but this hasn't started off the best. But what are some of the positive things you've seen?
Well, just stepping away from the business side of it, as I touched on before, I think one of the really good things that will have come out of this is suddenly people have got that sense of community back. Now, when you go for a walk, 99% of the people will acknowledge you and have a little chat as you walk past at a socially acceptable distance.
Yeah.
One thing I've really liked is, we set up the caremongers group to help, the immune compromised and the elderly and those types of people, to give them the ability to shop. Now, unfortunately for some of us that are getting close to that magical 70, we're told we can't go down and we can't volunteer.
Right.
But what's really warmed my heart has been the number of young people that have stepped up, and they're out there. They're on a Tuesday and a Thursday at New World and Warkworth, helping people with their shopping, calling on people, picking up shopping lists, all that sort of thing. So from a community point of view, it's brought everyone closer. You see groups of people sitting out on sidewalks now, again, at a distance, having a glass of wine, just chatting. And that, again, brings the community together. From a business perspective, if I was a business owner sitting there wondering how I was going to pay my rent and my staff, then I'd be thinking, I can't think of anything positive to come from this. But as we go on, I think we'll find that for a lot of them, it will have made them sit back, look at how their business operates. It will have given them the chance, as we talked about, to put an online presence in place. And I think perhaps it will also have given them time to just refocus. And I think the first 2 weeks, probably everyone was like a stunned mullet. But as we've got on, we get closer and closer to level 3 and level 2 and hopefully normality, then hopefully they're putting those plans in place to just look at how the different ways that they can promote their business. And social media is a great one. I mean, you look at what's on Facebook now, more and more people are out there really working hard to to give their businesses a profile on Facebook. And a lot of those businesses didn't have those before. So those are some of the positives.
Yeah, I think that's true with social media. And the whole point when Facebook started off was to bring people together. And I think you're right. The community spirit I've been blown away by it. And I'm also blown away by the absolute passion now for shopping local. And so I think that's going to be, for regions like ours, that's just going to be a positive as we come out of this to get that economic recovery going.
Well, we've always talked about, buy local. And I had someone say to me a while ago, that's a load of rubbish. Why would you want to buy local? But if you think about it, and you're right, the more and more now people are starting to realize that we need those small businesses. We need those local businesses. They're the ones, and they are always the first ones we tap on the shoulder when we want money for something, whether it's for something like the Winter Festival that you and I are involved in, whether it's a scout or Girl Guides or any other sort of event that's happening. It's the small local businesses that get the tap on the shoulder time after time after time. And every day when I was walking around the street, people would say to me, I've had 3 approaches today from people wanting product, or wanting services. And often they don't think of the cost to that business.
Yeah, that's right.
This is our chance to give back to those businesses. Because if we spend our money in a mall in Albany, that does nothing for this area whatsoever. But if we spend our money in a local business and a local service, then that keeps that money in our area. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist to work out, isn't it better to have a main street, or a town with vibrant businesses rather than a town with huge gaps where businesses have fallen over because people have made a decision to shop online or to go to a mall in Auckland? I'm passionate about it, mate. I really am. And I get angry when people say, oh, no, I went into such and such a shop just to get a size of something, and then I went and bought it online.
But I think now locally we'll have the best of both worlds, local online and local in-store as well.
Yep. Well, you've got the local butcher, for example, doing a lot of online stuff now. Virtually all the businesses, I think, now are doing online. Still Shop. I drove past there today and they've got people outside, but they have an online presence. Intimate Apparel in the main street, they have an online presence. So there's all of these different shops, the Arcadia Health Shop, for example, Urban Industrial, they're all doing stuff online. And there will be times in the future where people will just think, I don't have the time to drive into town, or I know it's going to be busy in town and I can't face the parking, but I still want to shop local, so I'll buy it online.
Yeah. No, that's good. Okay, this has been awesome. And finally, have you got a message for all the businesses in town, something you'd love to say to them?
I think the best thing is that whatever happens, the sun's going to come up tomorrow and the day after and the day after. And if it's tough, get through tomorrow, get through the next day, and eventually, hopefully it will come right. Do your planning, have your customer service right, be happy to see people when they come in to see you, make things easy, encourage people to shop local. And let's just remember, we are in this together, and the One Warkworth tag, stronger together. And we are. If we all work together, we all look after one another, then we'll come out of this. And years from now, we'll be having a glass of wine around a table, in an old folks' home, Brent, and we'll talk about these days. And hopefully some of the best days of our lives.
Yeah. Oh, that is great. Well, Murray, thank you very much for being the first on Love.Live.Local. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, my friend. Have a great day. Thanks very much.